Hi everyone, I'm Karen Combs and welcome to my FlossTube number 47. It is May 3rd, 2025 and it's been just under 3 weeks since I came to you last. I have got piles all around me to show you, so we're going to do some fully finished items that I just picked up from the framer. I feel like I'm not looking at the camera right. Sorry. And also what I've been working on. May just started, so I usually don't do Mania, but I'm kind of tossing that around. I've got some market haul that I didn't show you from before that finally I think everything's in now, and a few other things. So let's get right to it. And I want to thank you for joining me. Those of you that give that thumbs up, thank you for that. Thank you for your lovely comments. Your positive comments mean so very much, and I appreciate those. And I know that if you're watching on a device, it's easier to leave a comment, but if you're watching on a screen, it's harder, and that's fine. Totally understand. I just appreciate your support. So I picked up some things from the framers. You've seen them, but you haven't seen them framed. This is Modern Folk Embroidery Real Comfort. So here is the chart, and I heavily modified it. Go back. I left off the alphabet. I left off the top portion, and I just did kind of the swoop here of the words, because what I really wanted was the verse that says, there's nothing like staying home for real comfort. And when I picked this up from the framer, the lady that checked me out said, I feel exactly like that. So here it is. Let's see, let me get where I can kind of see what you're seeing. So there it is. It is on, picture this, plus ancient. I think it's 40 count. And then I'm using Picasso colorway of the 103 painter's thread. I'm going to zoom in so you can see the variation. Sometimes the variation does not show in the thread, but it is lovely. So I just chose a simple frame for that. I'm so pleased, and I think that's going to go right over here. If you watched my sewing room video, I have a credenza with my TV. I'm gonna put it on that wall, I think. The other one I picked up 3. This is One Stitch at a Time by La Di Da. I did do a color conversion to Vicki Clayton's silk. I think that's the only change that I made, and I love this frame. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, I am so pleased with that. I think that frame is the same frame that you see right there with the blackbird. Oh, so pleased with that. Where are you gonna go? Let's see, I don't wanna, can't put it on top of the other one. Should have thought this through. Where am I gonna put it? And then the other one that I picked up was Constant Companion by Erica Michaels. Oh, you know what? And I did not read the verse. It says, beautiful things come together one stitch at a time. Now do pay attention to the colors, because the next one I'm going to show you, I did use the colors. And One Stitch at a Time is on 40 count Miss Crescents. I think I was calling it Mrs. Crescents. Miss Crescents, linen and Madeline was the color, I believe. So on Constant Companion, I kept the bones of the border and kept the verse, and then changed the rest of the border, adding motifs that had something personal to me. And the verse says, no one can look upon the needle without emotion. It is a constant companion throughout the pilgrimage of life. I love that verse, and I think so many of us can relate. So here it is. You can see how I added motifs that, I think it's kind of a strawberry. Is it strawberry? Yeah, some kind of flower. That's from an antique sampler. The stars are also from an antique sampler, and then added some other motifs. That queen hoop is from the Scarlet House chart. Home is where my samplers are. So very pleased with this as well. So those are the things that I picked up. And okay, I'm going to stop so I can move these, and then we'll move on. I wanted to show you this again. This is vintage. And a couple videos ago, I asked, well, I've been cleaning out the house and found this. I forgot. I kept it. So glad. I wondered what I did with it. Found it in a hope chest upstairs in one of the bedrooms. And I had several wonderful viewers find a few things. This was from an ad, not an ad, a web page where you can rent vintage things for TV or dressing a set. So we did find that, but doesn't really give any information about where it was from. And I did this in, I don't think there's a date, but it was in the mid-70s. It's black work, black and gold work. And Vivian, super sleuth, she wins the detective award. She contacted me, and she was looking at some old magazines and found an article about this. So she offered to send me the magazine, and I did not want her to go to the expense of that. I said, just send me a picture and of the article. So I want to share this, and I want to thank Vivian for that. This is from Needlework and Crafts, Fall Winter 1968. I do not remember this cover, but I must have had this magazine, unless they ran this article in several. So here is, this is an Erica Wilson design. I wondered if it was. It says, black work, sparkle with gold, once favored by 16th century. Royalty is updated for pictures and pillows, designed by Erica Wilson. And there's the frog. There it is. And I knew there were more than one design. Here's a snail. I remembered the snail and vaguely remembered there was a mouse. I have searched. I have not seen kits or anything for this. There were actually 9. I've looked on the secondary market. Look at those. How I picked the frog, and that's the only one I have no idea. But it's not like I collected frogs. I don't know. Here's some more. And the last page of this, you'll get a kick out of this. You ordered a mail order by the number and the name, and it was $2.50 for the kit, which included the, I think it's on Ada, the silk, or the cotton floss and the silk thread. Yeah, it looks like it's on a smaller count, Ada. Looks like about 18 or 20, but 250. So Vivian, thank you for that. It made my day, and I appreciate so much those of you that searched and messaged and found what you could. Maybe on the secondary market you can find it, but now we know it was an Erica Wilson design. I suspected as much because I had several books that I purchased from her or purchased in book clubs in the mid-70s. So, and I also had several people let me know that this was called Flavorful Blend Herb Embroidery Kit, and I know I bought this at Frank's Nursery when I lived in Michigan, those of you that from Michigan. So someone mentioned hem stitching. I think that's a nice idea. Haven't quite decided what to do with it. I did this as an 18-year-old. So it's done. There it is. So Flavorful Blend Herb Embroidery Kit is what that is. And then this, I had quite a few people looking for this. Remember the whale that I showed? Well, Tay messaged me and said, I found it on eBay. And they are cards. And I wondered because I didn't have a booklet. And she said they are cards. So I'm going to put the link in the description box because their cards are still available. And I wanted to show those to you. Here is the whale. Look how different it looks on the card. And I know I used the called for. But here's the whale card. And 1, 2, 3, 5 colors. So it's the card, and then on the back is the chart. So there's the whale. They're all weather vanes. There's a lamb. There's a rabbit. Yes, I know these are vintage, but I still think they are so cute. There's a cow. And the designer is Graphic Needle Art, and Robin Rowe, R-O-W-E, is who the designer is. There's, well, this doesn't really finish the weather vane. It just, I guess it's a weather vane, but no directions on it. I love this horse. So what is that, 6, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So there's 6 in that set, but there also is another set available. I want to show it to you, which goes along with it. Same designer. There's a watermelon. A quilt design of a basket. Quilt design of a variable star. Actually, that's an Ohio star. They call it variable star. Usually that's also called a Ohio star. It has a lot of names. There's a chicken. Like this, basket of apples. And a house. So several quilt designs. So that gives you 12. And my friend Cindy, we were talking about this, and she did a quilt. And she added a 13th design of her own, and then had a friend hand quilt it. So what a wonderful keepsake. So I wanted to share those as well. Thank you for those that looked it up. There's a lot of whales. I had a lot of people mentioning whales, but we found the one it was. It's the cards. So I will put a link in the description box to, it's either eBay or Etsy, where you can still purchase the cards. When they're gone, but you have the information so you know if you like those, what to look for. So let me show you what I've been working on. I want to check my notes here. Before I show you what we were working on, last time I mentioned determining the right or wrong side of a linen from the wonderful book by Eileen Bennett, Red Book of Embroidery, and I have the name wrong, and I didn't grab it, but it is a wonderful book. And I had several people mention that they were taught that, and they had been taught it and used it all the time and just never thought to share it. Elaine has a company. She's been designing since the 80s, the Sampler House. So you can find many of her designs on the secondary market. But I love that book that she wrote and put several of them together. I should have grabbed it. I apologize. I will put the title in the description. You know, I kept compiling things to show you, and I just did not think when I wrote this down to mention it, to grab the book, and I apologize. But Justine mentioned that also, do I have one? Look at the pinholes. All right, here's a piece of 46 count old sheet. Sometimes when you get linen, there will be pinholes in the selvage. There you go, wait. Look at the direction. Let me go back. When fabric is woven or printed, and I actually did a video called Secrets of the Selvage. I did a lecture about that. I wrote an article about that, quite a few years ago. And I did, sometime during COVID, did a video because people were asking questions, this necklace, about the symbols on a selvage of cotton fabric. So that video, if you're interested, will give you some details about quilting fabric. But there are pinholes on linen, on quilting fabric, and it holds it when it's being manufactured. The pinholes, the pin goes down in. Where it's indented and slightly poking out, that's the wrong side. So the indentation is the right side. The part that's poking out would be the wrong side or the underside. And Justine reminded me of that. I thank you for that. So that's something to look for if you're curious about right or wrong. I don't want to get into a big discussion because people have said it doesn't matter, and it probably doesn't, but it also could. So I'm going to leave that up to your own decision what to do, but I always appreciate information, and the righter side is going to be smoother, the wrong side a little rougher. It's on this piece, I could barely tell a difference. So I just find it fascinating, and I want to thank Justine for mentioning the pinholes, because I don't know why I didn't think of that, but I will put the link to my video about Secrets of the Selvage, and we're talking about quilting fabric, in the description box. Okay, let me just check. And one more thing. Last time I showed a vintage kit that I had picked up, and the linen was musty, and I wasn't sure what to do about that. And Gail, thank you for this, she does quilt restoration. And she said what you do, because she often has to wash something that's musty. You take tepid water, a splash of Dawn, or a spot of Dawn, a splash of ammonia. That's the secret right there. And you're going to hand wash it. You put it in the sink or a dish pan and gently wash it. I just kind of mush it around if I'm doing a quilt. In fact, let me say that when I'm doing a quilt, I'll put a sheet in the bathtub, put the quilt in, especially if it's older, and if it's antique, I would check with someone before you wash it. But put it in the bathtub, same thing, tepid water, quilt soap. I'm going to just push the water through, rinse it, same way, just kind of push the water through, and the sheet is in there, so when you lift it up, especially in a quilt, you don't tear anything because it's heavy, so the sheet will help you lift it out, and you can also roll it and pat the water out. but I digress. So going back to the linen, tepid water, spot of dawn, splash of ammonia. Use that method of just kind of agitating slightly with your hand, let the water out, rinse the same way, and then you can gently roll it in a towel and press the water out. She mentioned if you could, lay it in the sun on grass, because the chlorophyll will also help remove that and brighten it. So I did lay the linen out in the sun for a little period of time for that reason, but didn't know about the ammonia. So thank you, Gail, for that. I appreciate those of you that share your knowledge so much. There is such wisdom when you look at all the years that people have been stitching or quilting or piecing, and when they share that knowledge, I appreciate it so much, because then it's not lost. It can continue on. All right, I think I've covered all the things I wanted to talk about that we discussed last time. So what have I been working on? Well, I've worked on several things, and my book of days isn't very pretty with stickers. I just wrote the names down, but that way I could remember, and this month doesn't have hardly anything in it yet, but I do refer to my book constantly. So I haven't shown the project bags in a while, so I kind of reorganized some of them and added these tags, because I'm putting more than one project in there. And the linen itself, I am laying over a stand I showed a while ago. So it doesn't have any pressure. It's just, think of when you lay something over the back of a chair. It's like that. So in my project bags are the flosses and the patterns. So this one by Penny and Tunny, love her bags. There's several in there. And I worked on Chessie and Me Across the Sea sampler. There are specialty stitches in this, which add quite a bit to the texture. And is this? Yes, and I've also added tags to some of my flosses that I didn't make a little tag with a picture. So here are the colors. And I decided on this one I would finish a section. So I just kept going and got quite a bit of the section done. There is over one in this section of the lady. So you can see I've worked on the flags. I think that's rice stitch in the stripes. But the verse says, stars on a field of blue, one for each colony, bars of red for the blood of sacrifice, on a ground of white for love and peace. And, you know, every time I try to remember what things are on. Let's see, this is on 30, and I have it here. 36 count American Chestnut by R&R. So worked on that. I'm gonna leave that project bag out because I'm gonna show something else with it. I worked a little bit on Anne Hunt, and I put Anne in one of my Stitch Folk bags. I just love the berry bags, and I have 3 projects in here. They all Quakers? I think they're all Quakers. Oh, this one is Anne Hunt. Got the chart on the front. And this is by Cross Stitch Antiques. And it's done in all of one color, except I decided not to. Grab it. So I had pulled some Belsois when I was at the attic several years ago when we got the chart at Sampler Symposium. And I've added some more. I am doing this on Lakeside Vintage Exemplar 32 count over 1. So I did finish a couple motifs and started adding some more. So after doing this over 1, when I went to Chessie and me, the over 1 was a breeze. It's interesting how when you work on something that maybe challenges you a little bit, and then you go to work on something else that used to challenge you but doesn't now. I guess it's those skills that grow. And I used to tell people in my book classes, if you have a project that just seems beyond you, set it aside and then go back to it. Because if you've taken classes, you've worked on other things, you have developed your skills, not even realizing it, and then you go back and now you can work on it. So anyway, I worked on that. It is so humid here. I'm watching my hair curl, so it just is what it is. We lost power last night. Hopefully we won't lose it again. And then I also worked on Betsy's house by Plum Street, and I have this in another one of my penny and tunny bags. Just love this, love that back fabric. And did I look up what it's on? No. But here are the called for. I am using the called for flosses. Trying to remember what it's on. I can, I guess, look it up real quick. All right, let me just go to this. I apologize. I try to have all of these things together, but, you know, human. So. 40 count Dames of the Needle Mad Hatter and the called for threads. I do like Dames of the Needle. So I got quite a bit done on Betsy's house. And Betsy as in Betsy Ross. Starting to come together and really like how that looks. So it worked on that one day when I was with the Stitch group. And just kept working on the grass and the fill-in. There's that one, and you saw just a tiny bit of this. I kept saying it's Mary. It's Maria Higginson by Stacy Nash. Again, I need to move the chart, sorry. I love this house, and I just had the tiniest little start on this. Put this back. I am using the called for. I don't think I've changed any of the flosses, and this is weeks, mostly weeks. I think it's all weeks. Lots of colors in this. And it is on 36 count straw. Look at these colors. I got part of the roof, part of the border, part of the tree, the butterfly. Oh, that's the color. Look at that. I know I just had the tiniest bit last time, so now you can see a little more. So, and that I have in a bag that I made. And just have some pretties on there along with my tags so I know what's in there. So worked on those. Move those out of the way, and so I'm going to talk about this. Had a new start. And those of you that joined me, oh, rats, just dropped a piece of linen. Well, okay, I'm going to have to restart because it's important what I'm going to show you next. So, sorry about that. So last weekend was Plum Street at Hobby House and Heartstrings Samplery. There was also Stitch North. I know there were other things going on, and several of us that wished we were there but couldn't be were just kind of chatting, and I decided that I would kind of have my own little virtual stitch in. So I thought, I'm going to start something new, and I'm going to place an order. So I was talking with Georgia, and you know her from Instagram. I'll put her Instagram in. And she said, oh, we're going to do our own little stitch and shop sell. And I loved that. So several of us just posted during the weekend what we were working on. Some people worked on things they were already doing. Some people started something new. Some people placed orders, so they kind of felt like they were shopping with people. Some people shopped their stash. We had several people join. You know, Teresa, Jersey girl, she joined. Bridget, who's also on Instagram. There were many others. Georgia joined. You know, quite a few people in the comments for the post commented. So it was just fun to see what people were working on, and I decided I would start Come Into My Garden by Blackbird. I've had everything pulled, including the called for linen, for a very long time, and it's been waiting its turn, and I thought, now it's time. Now it's time. So here it is, and the called for, I did a post, and here's the called for floss. I did a post because the called for is Velt. I picture this plus. It's got modeling, and you can see, here it is, it's beautiful. And I had it pulled, and I thought, I'm not sure I want to do this on Velt. So then I pulled some other things, and I posted it on Instagram. I pulled Saltbush, which is let's see. There's Saltbush. You can see it's a little more brown. I pulled Wood Smoke by Tabby Cat, which is a gray with a greenish cast. And then I also pulled, which I'm using for something else. This is Lakeside Vintage Lentil. I'll show this in a minute. So you can see it's got some modeling. And this was actually a really big contender. But then I laid the floss on Wood Smoke, and I loved how they popped. So that's what I decided on. And it was fun to see everyone's comments, which they thought I should do. And I really didn't know, but then finally decided on Wood Smoke. And I worked on this for, later on Thursday until last night. I love how the colors look. Got quite a bit done. Let me go up so you can see. Now to come back. That's the color. Look at the colors on it. You can see it's a gray with a greenish cast to it. You know, many people have done this, and it's a beautiful, beautiful design, but you don't see the beauty until you're actually, shouldn't say that. The beauty really shines as you're working on it. Because I've enjoyed seeing other people work on it, and you know, I love the design, but I really fell in love with it. It's just stunning. And I've always said there's something about Blackbird, they almost stitch themselves. I mean, you're stitching away and all of a sudden it's like, oh, look how much I have done. So I'll come back to this, but I'm so glad I started it. Look at this pink house. I mean, So worked on that, and thank you for those of you with input about the linen. It was fun to see your comments, and I really didn't know which to pick, but finally decided on the wood smoke. The other start, which I just started last night, I should save that for when I talk about Mania. Let's talk about Stash from Market, which I know you've seen a lot. I actually got more than I thought. I was surprised when I laid it all out. This book, Connected by a Red Thread, Samplers from the Classroom, is stunning. These are the charts that are included. And the photography in here is amazing. I mean, you can just look at the pictures and be inspired. And look at that. Let me try to get it where I don't show too much of anything else. It is written in English as well as, I believe that's Dutch. Alphabet sampler. I've enjoyed just looking at it. It's printed on such quality paper. I can't wait to do this one. Is this a darning? Look at this. Oh. I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be fun to do some of this in painter's thread? Let me do one more here. Oh, look at this. So this was one connected by a red thread. I am so glad that I purchased. I was on the fence and just decided to go ahead and get it. I'm very glad I did. I did pick up the new Weeks colors, and I ended up getting 2. These are the new colors, Pickled Okra. I don't know why I got 2, but I did. Olive Branch. Liquid Gold. Acacia Berry. And Chantilly. So those are the new Week colors. And I did get the new Classic Colorworks as well, which came with a little chart. I think there's 3 new colors. Yes, apple cider, green tea, sparkling rose. Pick that up. This is from Shakespeare's Peddler Joy, which was a Nashville exclusive, meaning you needed to order it I guess when Market was going on. Shakespeare's Peddler, you can check and see if it's still available. It used several colors that were limited edition, which I did not get. So I just noticed that Vicki Clayton did a silk pack, so I've ordered that. I also saw that the Attic had their own silk conversion. So if you didn't get the colors, you could pull the DMC, or you have a couple options for silk if you would like. This one, I think a lot of people ordered. Cicada's Song Sampler. It's got a mill. And this is by Cosford Rise. Look at that. So I ordered that, and the called for is Vintage Country Mocha, so I went ahead and ordered that at the same time. Don't have the threads for that. This is Brenda Juvet with Thy Needle and Thread Liberty. Ordered that. Lucy Beam's Spool House. I just love this. Look at that. Daily reminder. I've seen quite a few people working on this with Thy Needle and Thread. And Peace on Earth, Lila's Studio. Is it Lila or Lila? Peace on Earth. Love that. Love the little sleigh, the ice skaters. Let's see, I just need to put these in front of me here. Plum Street, Tomato Hill. I think this was a retreat piece. So I was glad I could get that. And have a couple of Chessie and Me. This is 1824 house. I love the little bee skip there. Also by Chessie and Me, this is Cherry Hill Housewife. Oh, another Plum Street, Rejoice. And then I did get this Teresa Kogut, My Heart is Red, Fed. My Heart is Fed with Needle and Thread. I love that. So I think those are the market things that I got. I have a little bit of haul, and then I'll show you the new start and what I might do for Mania. Oh, I think this was also from Market. The new color Fiber on a Whim Gray Spindle. I think this is, oh, I got 46 count. So that's more of the color there. Now, Hobby House is doing every, I think it's 6 times a year, so it's the third one just was released, so you could order it. But they're doing an exclusive linen with Tabby Cat, and I ordered this. You pre-order, and in 3 or 4 weeks it comes. This was the one that just came, Shaker Gray. Oh, that's the color. And then they just released the new one. You can order it. You're pre-ordering it, so you will be sure to get it. And I've ordered the first one, which was Down the Rabbit Hole, and then the Shaker Gray, and the next one is called Torn something. I'll think of it in a minute, but you can go to Hobby House and see that. I've ordered a few things that came in while I was in Arizona at the attic. These are a few years older charts. This is Lady Liberty by With Thy Needle and Thread. Lady Liberty. Ordered that. And Stars and Stripes. Notice a patriotic theme going on here. Ordered that. And then this is Homespun Elegance. This pillow was on display on 56 count at the attic, and I just loved it. It said still, can't read what it says. Still stitching. Yeah, I'm just going to show it to you. I can't read what it says, but the pillow was so precious, so I ordered that. Can I read it if I put on glasses? Let me see. Still stitching after all these years. That's the pillow, and still friends after all these years. I do have some dear friends that we are still friends after decades, so love those treasured friends. And then this one is an older chart by the Exemplary Ann Hill sampler. Love the ship on there. So I did pick that up. And Queen of the May. I ordered that from Nicola. 2025 Queen of the May. I did just order the Vicki Clayton Silk Pack, so that hasn't come yet. Might come today, or certainly by Monday. And I ordered that from Nicola. And if you are on Facebook and you are not part of the Friends of Hands Across the Sea, join that group, because she offered that if we ordered from her, we get a fabric panel so we could make a project bag. So I ordered that. I think that ended when this came out in May. But I know that several people have started working on it, and it is beautiful. I ordered these needle threaders, and I have told you about the Facebook group, our sampler years on Facebook. And every Monday, there's Monday with Mary, and Krista, who runs the group. We join her as she stitches, and I just enjoy that so very much. And it's, you watch, they can't see you. You can put some, if you want to say something, you put it in the chat, but it's just very pleasurable. And she showed this needle threader a couple weeks ago by Bowen. That's what it looks like. Look how pretty that is. Let me hold it so you'd see. So I ordered that because I just think that's beautiful. And when I was searching for needle threaders, I found these by Dritz, Woodland Needle Threaders. Look at how pretty these are. So I went ahead and ordered both of those. I think I got both of these from the Fat Quarter Shop, but you can check online. And let's see, this is my Stitch Folk quarterly bag came in. If you haven't seen it yet, turn away. But I think it's been online, so you've seen it. Look at how clever Barry has put a pocket in here. She's a genius. She has such a creative mind, thinks out of the box. I love her designs. I mean, I can make a project bag, but I can't, I don't have the thought process she does. She just is a magician, how she puts things together. And this I love. I think the Come Into My Garden is going to go in this. I gasp, I gasped when I opened it up. So I'm going to show you what I started last night and what I'm thinking for Mania, and think we're done then. Oh, one more, sorry. I've got stuff everywhere here. Yes, that's right. I didn't mention a new to me FlossTube that I was watching last weekend, and I've been starting to watch some of the past videos. It is Karen, and I did not write her last name down, but she lives on the Scottish border, and it's Fireside and Fairytales. Fireside and Fairytales. I will put a link to that, and I just dumped over what I was going to show you. I will put a link to that. I just enjoy her FlossTube so much, and it's new to me, so I wanted to share it. But one thing she showed is she puts her thread in a wooden box, and this is so clever. Now this looks like a shaker box, doesn't it? She had separate ones. This one is all together. This is a wooden lunchbox. Look on Amazon for oval wooden lunchbox, as in Japanese lunchbox. Now this one actually has two parts. And if you want to use it for lunchbox, there's a divider, but that divider comes out. But I'm going to use this and put tools in the top and the floss in the bottom, so everything is right here. She's labeled hers because she's got a display of everything labeled, so they're all stacked up, look so pretty. But I wanted to share this oval wooden lunchbox. Do look at the pictures. This one I thought was separate, but it's all together. But I like it because then I can put everything all together there. This one was very reasonably priced. It was like $14. There are more ones that are more expensive. You can take a look at those. So I wanted to share that. Fireside and Fairytales. Karen shared that. So what I started last night, and then I'll show you what I'm thinking about for Mania, is this is by the Scarlet House, Good Company. I saw this model at the attic. It was on probably 46, could have been 56. Fell in love with it. It calls for belle soie, and I went ahead and purchased the belle soie, but it also is charted for DMC, Gentle Arts, Weeks, and Crescent Color Works. So you could do either one, but I decided to get the belle soie. So there they are. And I love the verse on this. Let me read it to you. It says, "She lives on a hill overlooking the sea with only her dogs for good company. She doesn't need less, she doesn't need more than to hear the waves crash into the shore." And I just love that. Just peaceful. Just peaceful. So I just got a little bit of a start last night on the corner with the border here. And I am not going to take it out of the hoop because I'm going to go right back to stitching it when I finish. So I just started here going down, and then once I get all the way down, I can go over there to the tree in the house and start doing some of the fun stuff. So I decided to do this on that vintage lentil that I was going to use for Come Into My Garden. The called for is Vintage Pear by Lakeside. And which is, you can see it has kind of a greenish cast to it. So I pulled a few things that I was thinking about. Navy Bean by Lakeside, I had that, which I considered. I also pulled Flannel Flower. And I thought I had one more. Well, I ended up using the Vintage Lentil because it does have just a little bit of green cast to it. So that, you'll see more. I'm going to work on that this week. So for Mania, I know that some people are doing Market Mania, and I don't have any of my market kitted up. And I thought, well, I do have some of the things that I purchased, but I went through my things that I've kitted up, and I thought I'm going to work on this the first week. And then I think for the rest of Mania, I'm not going to do market. I think I'm going to work on some of my patriotic. So I've got There's Liberty that I've been working on. I think I'll work on this. That's where oh, it's pouring the rain. It's where I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm going to work for the rest of the month on patriotic. So I've got Across the Sea that you saw. I've got There Is Liberty. Then I pulled some of the patriotic I have kitted, and I thought, well, maybe if I need to do a new start, sometimes you just need to. I could pull one of these. This is Chessie and Me Grand Old Flag. And I've got it all kitted. I thought, well, I've got that ready to go. I've got this all kitted, Liberty Feather Tree by Thread Milk. Country Sampler kitted this for me. And this one's all ready, Baltimore Salt Box. Got this from the Silver Needle. So it's all kitted. Try that. Well, there's 3 right there. And then I pulled this, but I don't have it kitted with the threads. This is Souvenirs of the Heart. I do have the linen, but I don't have the threads. So I might just stay with the ones I have all kitted if I feel like I want to start something new each week. These should go fairly quickly. Really like that one. So that's what I think I'm going to do for Mania, is work on this new start. and then pull some of the patriotic and work on those through the month. Possibly starting some of the new. I would like to kit these up, but I want to work on some of the things I have kitted already. And I think that's it. I am pulling together. Remember I mentioned Monday with Mary. Krista's going to be doing a stitch along with Mary Carter, which was the 2020 Queen of the May. So I've started pulling things for that. I've ordered the chart from Hobby House. And then I've got, I'm thinking I might use this 46 count that I got from 123 Stitch. This is Bristol Cream. And here's the DMC. It's only 8 colors, but there's a lot. So I did get this antique white too. I think that's antique white. Yeah. But I think I'm going to do the cream. So I've started pulling those things. And once I get the chart, then I'll take a look at it, make sure I have everything ready. She'll be starting that in a few weeks, so we're all just kind of gathering together. So that's what I've been working on. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm coming back to you probably more toward the end of May, certainly before June. So I'm just looking. There's like nothing that I've written in May. We're going to be going somewhere in June. So I'll definitely be coming back to you before then. But I think that's it. So thank you for joining me. Sorry I had to stop and start, but you know, there was just lots to show you. I'm always grateful for your comments, for your support. It means the world. And I just love seeing what you're working on when you post it on Instagram, or hearing what you're working on when you post on the chat or in the comments. I really enjoy that. So we all have our virtual little stitch in, and I'm watching my hair is just getting bigger and curlier, and because it's just, if you have naturally curly hair, you know what I'm talking about. So it is what it is. Thank you, everyone. I will see you in a few weeks. And until then, I want to wish you a wonderful day and happy stitching.